they're inverting the old political problem of the social democrats who claim to be socialists but always bend over backwards to defend the Democrats as the lesser evil.
So you don't defend the Democrats, Ben. You just defend the cultural superstructure of the Democrat politics. You just defend the woke culture and woke agendas and policy positions that correspond to the political power of the Democratic Party, but you're too much of a fucking coward to come out and admit that in practice, you actually just support the Democrats. Just like the Bernie people are too fucking spineless to come out and admit that they just support Biden, right? Just like how the Democrats themselves are too cowardly to fucking admit that and come out and just say, we just support the status quo of the establishment Republicans.
So we're talking about organizations, DSA, PSL, Workers' World, Frizzo, other progressive organizations. Like, that's the left. It's not a bunch of like weirdos with a YouTube channel like these so-called patriotic socialists.
It's not us either,
yeah.
By the way. Like, we're leftists.
So first of all, Benny, you're saying that, the left is actually all of these like fronts for the Democratic Party. So what you really mean is that the left is the Democratic Party and the institutions under the control of the Democratic Party. Because even if these organizations aren't directly shilling for the Democrats, although the grand majority of them do, they're still tied to the same institutions that correspond to the Democrats in political reality. The same academic institutions, the same NGOs, the same network of activism, yada, yada, yada. So what you're really talking about is George Soros and the Democratic Party. That's the real left, according to you. It's just so we're clear, because I don't exactly know why the DSA, what about the DSA and the PSL make them any more real than just like some fucking people on the internet. Well, what is it? The fact that they have book club meetings in person? Is it the fact that they're touching each other, poking each other like physically? Is that what what makes them more real? It's not like these people, are successfully exerting any like hegemony or are directing anything that is outside of the Democratic Party. It's not like these things have any actual influence on the political reality whatsoever outside the Democratic Party. And I'm sure they influence the Democratic Party and its policies in some ways, such as the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, AOC and the Squad, which also happen to be the vanguard of U.S. imperialism as of 2022, promoting and trying to export the United States' woke cultural agenda around the fucking world, something the Gray Zone is rather cognizant of, so cognizant that it led to the falling out in which you resigned from the Gray Zone because you decided that, American woke politics is somehow continuous with international anti-imperialist politics, which just isn't true outside America, at least. So let's let this strange being who looks like Grendel from Beowulf continue speaking.
We are not the left.
Yeah, like this guy, and then
who is this? Who is this? I think you are the left, actually. I think you are. You're all doing this. You're all just Democrats, pretty much. You're all just shit libs.
And then this gets us to this whole nonsense of like these patriotic socialists who have a lot in common with the National Socialists, I'll say,
and apparently we're just supposed to like take that. We're just supposed to like take that for granted and not question it. Like, do we ask him for examples of like how, or no? He just said that. Okay, I guess we just assume that's true because he said it. I mean, you know what? No, I'm gonna drop the passive aggression and just be like, hey Ben, how? How, Ben? Actually, how? How the fuck are patriotic socialists like national socialists? Like, materially speaking, fucking how? Are patriotic socialists being funded by the military-industrial complex? Are they being funded by industrialists? Are they being funded by the imperialist financial bourgeoisie to like exercise extra democratic, extra liberal emergency powers with which to like retain their rule and power? Like, fucking how are they like the National Socialists exactly? Like, what an abjectly stupid fucking thing to say. How? Are they fighting actual? Is there a real communist movement that they're somehow suppressing or fighting? And please, if there is one, point me in its fucking direction. And if you tell me the DSA is a real communist movement, I'm gonna spit in your fucking dumb face. Or the PSL for that fucking matter. I'm gonna spit in your dumb fucking face.
How little socialist they are and how much patriotic and nationalist they are. But
we just got attacked for being too anti-American, by the way, because Samira praised the diplomatic relations between China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia because it's undermining American hegemony. So that just goes to show what a like dumb, inconsistent fuck this guy is.
I mean, these people are, first of all, complete fringe. They have no influence outside of...
Okay, then why are you talking about us? Hello, is this on? Aren't you talking about us? Why don't you talk about something that matters? Benny boy, why don't you fucking talk about something that matters then? If we don't matter and we're just fringe and irrelevant. So on the one hand, we don't matter, we're fringe and we're irrelevant, and on the other hand, we are no different from we share a lot in common with the National Socialists, who are famously known for having no historical significance at all, right?
Like social media, and I say this as someone who's a journalist, but like I don't claim to be a political leader. I don't claim to like, you know, have a movement of people behind me. Like these so-called patriotic socialists who always bend over backward to do lesser evilism in defense of Republicans.
How? All of this is aesthetics. All of it is discourse. It's all because we like endorse a lot of the messages coming from Republicans. Is that what you're talking about? So what? The Republicans are a counter-hegemonic force, okay? It's a deception. They're just it's wolves leading lamb to the slaughter. But that's what it exists as. The Republicans are like a party of disruption. They're just like a counter-hegemonic, anti-status quo virtue signaling, which usually translates into upholding the status quo because behind the scenes, these are all neocons and people who are in bed with the Department of Defense, granted, okay. But still, the reason a lot of the messaging of the Republican Party, not actually of the party, but by like Republican figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Madison Cawthorn, and Donald Trump resonate with us so much is because they're anti-hegemonic messages. And in and of itself, those aren't bad messages, all right? And we're kind of we're doing something counterintuitive by using those messages in a pro-communist way. So that's what you're butthurt about because you're like a fucking butthurt, leftist who just like has your fucking panties in a bunch over like we're not using the correct terminology. Shut the fuck up, dude. Your teddy bear is being beaten up, and that's what you're fucking mad about. You treat socialism like a teddy bear, and we're beating the shit out of that teddy bear, and that's what you're fucking whining and crying. My teddy bear! Fuck your teddy bear, okay? Fuck your teddy bear.
What is the point of that? Like all they're doing is.
Like, you need, like, this consistent set of slogans and imagery and aesthetics that make you feel comfy and cozy, and we're, like, shitting all over that, and that's your fucking problem.
They're inverting the old political problem of the social democrats who claim to be socialists but always bend over backward to defend the Democrats as the lesser evil.
So you don't defend the Democrats, Ben, you just defend the cultural superstructure of the Democrat politics. You just defend the woke culture and woke agendas and policy positions that correspond to the political power of the Democratic Party, but you're too much of a fucking coward to come out and admit that in practice, you actually just support the Democrats. Just like the Bernie people are too fucking spineless to come out and admit that they just support Biden, right? Just like how the Democrats themselves are too cowardly to fucking admit that and come out and just say, we just support the status quo of the establishment Republicans. But to be fair to the CPUSA, something I didn't cover tonight, is at least they're starting to just openly fucking endorse Liz Cheney now, a fucking Republican. By the way, the fucking CPUSA endorsed Liz Cheney. We're going to cover that tomorrow, by the way. I'm saving that for tomorrow. Remind me.
Doing the same thing, but saying Republicans are the lesser evil. Mm-hmm. And they're calling for allying with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is one of the most explicitly fascist politicians in the U.S.
How? How is she a fascist? Explain. She has good messages. And yeah, she's wrong about China, but that's just because she has like a but yeah, why is she wrong about China? Is there something fundamental there, or is she just misled? And I think she's misled.
U.S. right now. Let's not forget, this is someone who honored and admires J. Edgar Hoover, the founder of the FBI, a complete McCarthyite and racist.
Notice Ben is just talking about like some dumb fucking ideological aesthetics. Nothing about where her messages and signaling actually aligns materially in the info war. Nothing of that nature. Like, there's nothing decisive about her talking about J. Edgar Hoover. There is something really significant and decisive about her calling for the abolition of the FBI.
Racist who oversaw COINTELPRO, assassination of black revolutionaries like Fred Hampton, oversaw...
Me or my teddy bear! My teddy bear! She's using words in a way that hurt my teddy bear! What's her material relation to those forces, though, Ben? To COINTELPRO and the... she could pay lip service to J. Edgar Hoover. Materially speaking, is her place in the info war actually beneficial to them? It's not! That's why they're fucking after her, and they call her a fucking Russian agent, you dumb fuck. You dense, dumb fuck. Looking like fucking Grendel from Beowulf.
The surveillance and spying on of MLK. I mean, she was praised.
Yeah, she literally surveilled and spied on MLK. So he's going from the leap of Marjorie Taylor Greene said something positive about a historical figure that makes her responsible for that. Well, what does that say about her actual position today in relation to the actual people who inherited that power structure? I don't know. He doesn't care, though, because for him, it's all ideology. That's all that matters.
Praising the FBI when it was cracking down under Trump on Black Lives Matter protests.
All right, guys, get your nerd emojis out. Everyone get your nerd emojis out. Let's put our glasses on. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out against the FBI, but you're not doing it in an academically informed way. You're not doing it according to the correct theories. You're not doing it because of the same academic reasons and theoretical reasons. Isn't it rich that there's like ideological contradictions in Marjorie Taylor Greene's position? That just makes her a hypocrite, and it just makes everyone stupid for trying to endorse her, because everything's about ideology, and those contradictions couldn't possibly be explained by something in material reality relating to the position of the American working class that she represents versus the institutions of the Democratic Party, the woke agenda, and the globalists, who are the highest stage of imperialism. Oh my god, let's put our glasses on. She just doesn't have the right academic reasons. That's the problem.
Tests.
Right.
She called Black Lives Matter the biggest threat to the United States.
Fuck BLM. Fuck that whole movement. I just said it. Now it's not only her, it's me who said it. I said it. Fuck them. Fuck the George Soros front BLM. How about that?
Mm-hmm. This was a little over a year ago. She and all these Trump Republicans were encouraging the police to brutalize protesters. And now they're calling for... They're not going to actually abolish the FBI. What is their tangible...
Okay, so... First of all, he thinks the police is the same as the FBI, and they're not. They're actually structurally different. And as much as I'm against the police... The anti-police sentiment that was coming from the progressives was inversely proportional to their anti-FBI sentiment. They're pro-globalist federal institutions like the CIA, and they're against these like local whatever ones. And again, I'm against the police. Everyone is. But just being anti-police doesn't fucking mean anything, right? Especially when the majority of the anti-police sentiment from the establishment is coming from a perspective of increased federal powers, all right? And anyway, he's saying they're not going to abolish the FBI. They're not going to abolish the FBI. Okay. But at least they're making it politically possible to be opposed to the FBI now. Now, an anti-FBI position, because it's the position that matters, Ben. It's where you're positioned strategically against imperialism that fucking matters. And it's not actually about whether you're going to fucking abolish the FBI overnight. It's whether or not you can actually form a political platform and a political position that is strategically positioned against the institutions of imperialism. Because mind you, Ben, the FBI isn't a fucking democratic institution of the Republic. It's an imperialist, strictly and explicitly imperialist institution that forms in the aftermath of the First World War. The imperialist First World War. So Ben, get your shit straight. We're talking about the institutions of imperialism, which she is participating in a politics that is strategically positioning itself against. That has implications for the class struggle, Ben, you dumb fuck. You're sitting here like a fucking utopian idiot, interpreting political messages in terms of like the immediate policy making conclusions. Oh, they're not going to lead to the destruction of the FBI. They're just going to make something worse in its stead. What? That's like saying, oh yeah, I'm against black nationalists fighting the police because they're just going to create something worse in its stead. Who fucking cares what happens after? If you are looking at look, the collapse of the establishment is unconditionally and always good. Fascism didn't collapse the establishment at all. It was an extension of it. Nothing was collapsed. He's saying, yeah, I actually anticipate they're going to like destroy the FBI, but I'm scared they're going to make something worse, and instead you're a cuck, you're a coward, and you're defending the status quo because you're fear-mongering about a hypothetical that is nowhere within the practical vicinity of our intervention or reality. And by the way, I don't think they're going to abolish the FBI either, which is why you're even wrong about fear-mongering that they're going to make a new Gestapo. They're not even going to succeed abolishing the FBI. What they are doing is giving expression to the masses' opposition to the institutions of imperialism. That is very profound. That is a profound achievement that should be endorsed, should be praised. Of course it should. What the fuck?
Action plan for abolishing the FBI. First of all, they don't even have the
Yeah, you didn't run a plan by me and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So even though the masses are like overwhelmingly engaging in anti-FBI sentiment, because you didn't run a plan by me, Ben Norton, shut the fuck up, you fucking gatekeeping nerd bitch. Who the fuck are you who needs to run a plan by you at all for anything? The fuck?
the votes if they wanted to, which they clearly don't want to. What's much more likely is they take power, the Republicans take power again, and they strengthen the FBI. I mean, this is a ridiculous...
She actually said that. She actually has said that, by the way, that it's just that Republicans need to take back power.
Yeah.
So that they can, like, make it not a political weapon anymore. Yeah.
So this is...
Okay. But if that happens, it's going to be perceived as a betrayal of the Trump aspect. And yeah, Trump has already betrayed his movement, which his movement is starting to be cognizant of. You don't tap into that by supporting the mainstream media and the establishment. It's a primary contradiction. These dumb fucks don't understand Maoism. They don't understand that the Trump movement is never going to be taken to its fruition. Yeah, he is going to sell them out. This is going to be betrayed. But in terms of what makes sense, you have to use the language that makes sense to these people. Communists used to fucking speak in religious terms when they went into the fucking South because that's what made sense to people. Same thing with Trump. Same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that shit. If you don't get that, you're a dumb fuck. You don't understand how anything works.
This is a complex political debate that goes back many decades, right? It goes back hundreds of years about when you should form political short-term alliances with your enemies, with, you know, far-right, right-wing libertarian people, right? So here's another...
Notice, there's no material or class analysis. Enemy and friend is based on ideology, nothing more.
Another example of this would be like the anti-war movement. Like, I think libertarians on economic issues are really dumb. I think their economic worldview is insane. It's like they live on another planet. But there are a lot of short-term coalitions between the left and libertarians against war, against the war.
Why? Why should we ally with libertarians against war? They're not going to be against war. They're not going to be against war. When they get into power, they're just going to ramp up the war machine. Why should we ally with them? Because libertarianism preserves capitalism, and capitalism creates war. So why should we ally with libertarians, Ben? They're not gonna destroy or abolish war. You fucking idiot. What a fucking sellout.
War in Yemen, the war in Libya. That makes sense because
Syria.
No, it doesn't make sense, Ben. It doesn't fucking make any sense.
Actually, I mean, I don't want to cut you off too much, but when I was at when I still had Jane Hampshire at Fire Dog Lake, we actually
Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this?
whipped the House and stopped them from passing a resolution in support of the Syrian conflict. That was
Taylor,
but
if Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to put forth a bill in Congress,
shooting the word socialism with a machine gun. So if you
My teddy bear! She saw the word with a machine gun?
the other part of this is that if you form a temporary political coalition with someone, you do it with someone who is
So if libertarians shoot the word socialism, you shouldn't ally with them as for an anti-war coalition, right? Is that what you're saying?
a lesser enemy, not a bigger enemy, right? Like libertarians, I think they're dumb on a lot of issues, but I don't think they're as bad as fascists.
yeah.
Fascists are the
Because they don't shoot the word socialism. As long as they don't shoot cardboard signs, they're fine, right?
number one enemy. And obviously I don't like liberals either, but if I have to choose between liberals and fascists, I'll choose the liberals. You don't ally with the people who are even worse enemies. That's not how
Who's supporting the Azov Battalion, which is an actual fascist organization in Ukraine? Do you even know what fascism is, you dumb fuck? If the FBI is engaging in a bunch of fucking extrajudicial and extra fucking legal raids using arbitrary violent power, that's an example of fascism, you dumb fuck. You don't even know what fascism is, you just think it's a fucking... Fascism is when you're super conservative and super traditional. That's fascism. Fascism is when you're against the progressives. That's fascism. Shut the fuck up, you dumb fuck. Fascism is like when you're super anti-woke. Shut the fuck up, you dumb fucking dumb as a rock, dumb fuck.
political coalitions work. So the idea of the left allying with the far right against the center is extremely stupid. And by the way, the left has very little power.
What is the far right, Ben? Materially, what is that far right? Tell me what it is materially. What are you using? Oh, you're using a bunch of ideological terms. Translate this into an actual class strategy. Give me the actual social formations all of these forces represent. Go ahead. And explain their specific strategic significance within modern day imperialism. The actual one that exists, mind you. And that's based in the city of London and Wall Street. Give me an actual fucking analysis, Ben. Give me an actual analysis.
The far right in the US has a lot of power. So if you form a coalition with someone and then your coalition wins, they will turn against you and you have no power. So the far right's going to win.
It's like the people who like.
Yeah, but the leftists aren't even worthy of entering into a coalition with anyone because they're not even fucking significant enough to do anything in the first place. So what are you fucking bitching about in the first place, Ben? We can't enter it. You're just saying we should waste our energy tailing Democrats because of the threat of fascism when we support Liz Cheney instead of using the messages and language of the Trump movement to reach the actual working class, to make common ground with them, to build an independent party, an independent movement. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, the irony of that, using Schmittian logic to call other people fascists. You're right.
For the full episode, go to thedissenter.org.
I would rather fucking drink a bucket of piss than fucking watch the full best fucking episode of that. Suck a whole fucking dick. Suck a whole fucking dick.